Hey, hey, what's going on out there? What's happening? This is your golden dark Dane coming on to talk about the Super Bowl. It's time for that now bet with questions about T.I. and Tiny, Nick Cannon making a comeback, confessions from Florida, crazy but not hair raising, and some at home movie excitement. If you're not already hip to what is out. So, first of all, happy Black History Month. We are in the month of February, the first month of this year, 2021, has concluded. So, we just keep on rolling, pushing through. So, I need to make mention following my video from last week, and as it pertains to returning TV shows, that there will be the final season 5 of the show Insecure. So, just wanted to do a proverbial hat tip for that and say for the characters Issa and Molly on Insecure, we appreciate y'all's depictions in friendship, and they will be missed. So, looking forward to the final season of Insecure that will be on HBO. And now, there was a lot that happened this week. What is occurring tomorrow is, the always conspicuous, popular Super Bowl. Super Bowl Sunday is in less than 24 hours. So it's going to take place in Tampa, Florida this year. And there are reports, I think, a lot of smoke being blown and created in regards to super spreader concerns for tentative game parties. So, um, you know, this is coming from general news media. They think that COVID cases are going to increase because they presume that people will be attending game parties in large numbers, in droves. And, be infected and spread infections of coronavirus. So, to promote the prevention of that, it's about time that everyone gets serious about your mask quality. Anybody can cover their face with cotton, with fabric, with other filter material, and make it designed to our liking. But what really makes a difference is the quality of filtration and our practices of sanitation prior to and after removing your face mask. So it's time to raise the standard of what you are protecting yourself with for it to be the most effective means of also protecting others. So another thing that was put out this week was Andrew Gillum's wife claims that she was aware of her husband's sexuality prior to them getting married. And they've been married for 11 years or so. They have 3 children together. And his wife's name is RJ. Anybody who, does not remember by some small chance, Andrew Gillum just as of, has it been a year now? It's been some time, I want to say within the past 365 days that there was a scandal surrounding him. He was a political candidate in the state of Florida. And following, his loss of candidacy, he was caught up in what resulted in being a scandal because there were images of him captured, passed out in a hotel room that he had been occupying with another male. This is a married man. So also the reports were that, he was under the influence of drugs and that's what he and the other male had been partaking in prior to Gillum passing out and pictures of him being taken in that state. So that caused a huge controversy due to the fact that he is married to a woman. He was in the political spotlight, and even though he didn't secure the office that he was running for, anybody under the political lens is pretty much always going to be there unless and until they are no longer in the field of politics in any capacity, not until they quit politics. So there was so much talk about that happening to him as far as the pictures that were taken of him and, obvious questions as far as, wow, what is his wife embarrassed? Was she aware that he's gay? Was he living an undercover lifestyle as far as it pertains to his sexuality? So RJ, his wife, apparently it was noted at some point this week that she made a comment that she had, quote, had lots of questions, end quote, about his sexual fluidity. My question is, why share this information now? Because the most recent information or news regarding this couple is that they were recently on the Tamron Hall show just a few months ago. She had also apparently said, the wife, that is, but making a statement that she had lots of questions about his sexual fluidity. My question is, whom did she ask? And why share this now? So I'm not sure of the context of her making this statement, but it seems to lack accountability and awareness of her decision to embark on a marriage with a man who is either gay or bisexual, depending on what day it is and how he's feeling. Engaging with an individual who is bisexual and entertaining the relationship further by going into a marriage is not an involuntary scenario that any person is forced to come to terms with, seek to understand, or be obligated to carry out. It is a choice. I remember just a couple months ago, they were on the Tamron Hall show, like I mentioned, where his wife also apparently said, quote, that she doesn't think it's anyone's business, end quote, about her husband being bisexual. And she also expressed that their misunderstanding, people's misunderstanding of that versus misunderstanding of his bisexuality versus whether or not he's gay. She doesn't feel like that's anyone's business. Speaking of, people in general and, their judgments of her husband based on what got published. So they definitely chose an interesting direction to go in for her to say that, being on national television and making that statement is, highly hypocritical. So RJ, who is 1 year older than her husband Andrew, who supposedly asked her to be his life partner upon proposing marriage, not asking her to be his wife, okay? RJ, you were not dealing with a conflict to continue your relationship with him. You chose to keep it and risk long term loss of peace of mind, however much peace of mind you had prior to dealing with him. So we don't believe you. She needs more people if she's hoping for relatability, because she was trying to speak in a vein as though she was confused and as if she ultimately embraced the assumption and the impression that this is the type of thing, or specifically something that a high amount of engaged or, long-term couples go through, as far as being presented with the option of getting married, to have to weigh or balance. It looks like nothing more than a calculated risk that she took to me. So I don't feel sorry for her. Nonetheless, good luck to her and their 3 children with her and Mr. Gillum's decision-making processes going forward. So with the movies, another trailer for March Coming to America was released, featuring preview of the soundtrack with the song I'm a King by Bobby Sessions that features Megan Thee Stallion. You can hear snippets of this song included on this new trailer, which is longer than the initial trailer that was released in December to promote the upcoming sequel of Coming to America. And what I have to say about that is it's a huge bummer that, number one, when they released the first trailer, I believe it was on the date that the movie would have originally been premiering in the theater, in movie theaters. But because a decision was made to not release the movie in theaters and to release it on, I think it's going to be on, oh gosh, I don't want to say the wrong platform, but I think it's going to be coming out. Wow, I'll say that. I really don't want to misinform folks. It's going to be streamed through a movie platform instead of being in theater. So once that change was made, they still released a trailer for it in December. But that trailer is, again, shorter. And for some reason, they've released this additional trailer, if not only for a means of increasing the interest and the anticipation of it, since it's now coming out in a month, in March, because this trailer is going to be included among other advertisements tomorrow during the Super Bowl. But again, just with that's a major change that was made by it being taken out of the theaters, not being released in the theaters as originally planned. And personally, it just robbed me of the excitement of the fact that a sequel, has even been made to Coming to America. The original movie came out in 1988. 1988. So that's 31 years ago. And to know that somebody had the gumption to, want to pick this story back up was like, wow, okay, that's great, because I feel like the original film is definitely a classic. And the reason being because it's so iconic. It's something that can be referenced as a point of favorable and realistic depictions as it pertains to Africa, the motherland. Going up against stereotypes of how people are, how people dress, even down to how people look who are from Africa back during the same era that the original film came out, back from during the 80s and before. So Coming to America was something that helped to create a whole new vision, realistic vision of, how things really are when it comes to Africa, and, dumb down anything, any social stereotypes, any derogatory terminology that, has ever been made within America, which, has majority been through ignorance, because so many people are compelled to speak about places that they've never been to and don't know anything about in a negative and joking way. So Coming to America was a movie to me that is it should be treasured, and it should be valued based on those things, because again, it shed a new light. It shed a spotlight and a strong idealism that can truly be, used as a platform for conversation, for analysis, and for, educational discovery about the continent, the motherland that is Africa and always will be, the origin of human existence. So seeing that the sequel, like I said, being robbed of the experience of being able to go to a movie theater in a similar vein as how people went out in droves to theaters to see Black Panther, and even to the point of dressing up, getting in cultural costume. It feels like such robbery that the same cannot be done for this Coming to America sequel. And it's so upset. It was such an upset to me when I saw that it was not going to be coming to theaters, because from the point that I saw that the sequel was, really being made and in the works, and once I saw, that Eddie Murphy was making comments about it to, confirm that, I was geeked. So, to say the least, it was like almost like a stake in the heart because we can't see it in the theaters unless somebody, opts to have a private screening. That's pretty much the only way that it will be viewable to anybody within a movie theater setting. That's a killer. It's like a crying shame. So again, they've released a second trailer for the upcoming sequel, and I think that just in my analysis and comparison between these two trailers, number one, I think that the first trailer, it was too long and not clearly informative. So it's a good thing that they release a second trailer that makes the storyline clearer to recognize for anyone who has not actually read up on the storyline for the upcoming sequel. Just looking at trailer number one, it's hard to tell. It was hard to tell, okay, what is the movie going to be about, other than it obviously being a part two to part one. So this more recent trailer, number two, does a much better job of showing what is to be expected and what's going to occur in this movie coming to the number two America. And even the optics for it, I have a couple of gripes about, including the titles. So this sequel should have been titled Coming Back to America, and they could have substituted the word two with the number in that title versus what it actually is, which is Coming the digit to America. That just looks really lazy to me. It should be called Coming Back to America. Because even with trailer number one, to have had that title would have made it obvious what the movie's going to be about. From the introduction of it, Prince Akeem is settled with his queen, Lisa, in Africa, back in Zamunda. They're there. They've been there for however many, years. And it is brought to Prince Akeem's attention that because his father, Queen Jaffe, is on his deathbed, that, okay, we're about to make a transition, a royal transition is going to occur soon. And it is brought to the attention of Prince Akeem that he has a child that exists, unbeknownst to him, though. So he's going to be coming back with his royal sidekick, Simi. They're going to be returning to the country, America, United States of America, to find out who this illegitimate child of his is. So, yeah, that title definitely could have been, they could have gotten more creative. Could have gotten creative, period, with the title for the sequel. It should be Coming Back to America. I mean, that not only does it look better, it sounds better. It sounds stronger. And looking at the second trailer to see, I don't know, it's kind of interesting to me in a disappointing way to see the character, Lisa, who was, Prince Hakim's wife, so she's the queen, I presume, or else, the royal first lady, whatever her label may be as far as her position, her royal position. But I'll just assume that she's Queen Lisa. And to see that this is what gets me specifically about that character, just on the optics, from an optics perspective. Her hair, that's a disappointment to me. Again, lacking character visual development. And there's no excuse for it. Her hair is straight beneath her crown. I don't like that. And the last major gripe that I have is, and this is evident from trailer number 1, is seeing that upon their return to New York and retracing the steps that they took from the first time that they came to Queens, and their exposure and discovery of the barbershop, the barbers, every character that was in the barbershop is still living. So again, I think it just robs the original movie of its realism of the storyline. Because listen, I don't care what lines, what script lines may be implemented into this sequel as far as clarifying the timeline and how many years have passed. It doesn't matter, because in reality, and this is a storyline, despite it being a comedy, despite the genre of the movie, the foundation of the storyline is that it's a realistic storyline. It's a believable movie. Therefore, no character that existed and that was present within the barbershop from Coming to America, the original, should still be alive. It's just not reality. It's not even real. Maybe one, maybe even two of them could still be alive, and they wouldn't be able-bodied. The main barber wouldn't still be able to stand up next to his barber chair. He'd be sitting in a chair, have a walker, or else be in a wheelchair. So that's another gripe that I had off the top upon seeing trailer number 1 for the sequel, because oh man, they are really reaching to want to create and retain nostalgia and pulling from the original movie. But you can only do that so much, and they really reached by, again, maintaining those barbershop characters still being alive. It strips what should be an automatic ingredient of the realness of the storyline, and even with it being continued, it strips it of its realness. It strips it of believability. Because none of those they were old, and all of them were old in part 1. So if this was a true story, all those characters would be dead. And that's how they should have been treated when it came to crafting this sequel. So that kind of, again, I see it's clear that they just wanted to retain those characters for, humor purposes, but still, man, I hope it doesn't come down to every last character who was in part one is going to be in this sequel. And it appears that that is a possibility. So we'll see. We'll see how much that dampers, again, the realism of the story as a whole. But to know that they already have those barbers still being alive, that's like, I don't know. It's a shot. It's an unnecessary shot in the dark. So it's a wasted bullet. I don't know what analogy to use to describe that, to express um, how unnecessary doing that, I think, will result in being for this sequel and the overall humor that they have the opportunity to display in the film. But moving on to more recent and currently available movie to be seen if you haven't seen it already, and that was available as of Friday, February 5th, is A New Reason to Netflix and Chill, called Malcolm and Marie, starring Emmy at Home Award winning Zendaya as Marie in a relationship that appears to be going downhill, with constant love professing in the preview trailers. Malcolm, played by John David Washington, most recently starring in Tenet. I didn't get to see that movie yet, and I would have liked to have seen that in the movie theaters, and I'm not sure if it's even still playing in there. I know it was from last month, to my surprise, but I still didn't get to see it then. So anyway, I planned on watching this last night as a Friday night treat, but hindered by timing and the need to prevent unstated personal relationship thoughts from possibly swirling and clashing with the movie narrative. So I'll be watching it this evening, and I will share a review of the black and white filtered view cinematic production. To me, it looks, to see that it's in black and white just gives it an automatic sense of having a presence of like sophistication, and it just yields like an allure of definitely drama and, sexy and mystique. So, you know if I'm being totally honest, those, that in itself caught my interest, because I didn't even hear anything about this movie until Thursday evening, just by chance. And again, when I saw that black and white, it's kind of like, It took a few seconds for it to even set into me that, oh, it's black and white. I know it's not, I know it's new, it's got to be new, because the actors are young. And in most, classic black and white films, the actors are of a clearly mature age. But you could see that, well, this is a new movie, it's got to be a new movie, but it's in black and white, doing a black and white view. So that in itself, like I said, was something that automatically sets this movie apart to draw interest in. That trick worked on me. So people are already talking about this movie, stating their opinions on it. I haven't read too deep into, those brief reviews, because I do want to have my own fresh assessment of what I see once I watch it. So otherwise, Yeah, hair fiasco. If you haven't seen or heard about this across social media already, a young lady named Tessica, as you can see in in the in the title view for this video, Tessica has been reposted on social media by the Shade Room, plus by a few other unlikely profiles with her hair glue fiasco. And this is like, it's just, I don't know, maybe outrageous. From the IG profile, Tessica shared a testimony of the drastic mistake she made of substituting a non hair friendly adhesive to secure her hairstyle and claimed that it's been stuck in its current state for the past month. So she must have become so frustrated that she just started posting about it within the past few days because she was helpless, and she went to the extent of demonstrating applying conditioner to her hair and rubbing it off with a washcloth just to exhibit the lack of movement and the stiffness and immobility of her hair. So that was confusing to me. I felt like, well, she's going to do that. Where's the water? She rinsed off the conditioner versus wiping it off with a cloth. But that's what she did. If you can imagine, most of the comments made were laughing at her, questioning her judgment, or not being able to tell that the adhesive she used is not for hair. Listen, as a 19-year licensed cosmetologist who does not regularly practice, but is more inclined to the educational side of hair care, I have never, for the life of me, been comfortable with seeing the use of adhesive with hair. So to me, seeing about this situation just kind of made my heart drop a little further, because I know that is a widespread practice for people to receive hair installation services this way. Men and women are allowing this to be done on a vast level, usually for the purpose of camouflaging their suffering from alopecia, which is baldness, if you didn't know. In my professional opinion, is that I don't care what brand of hair glue or adhesive it is, nor for what styling purpose. It's going to contribute in taking out more of your hair, period. Okay? That's just what's going to happen. You put something sticky on your hair, once it comes out, some of your strands are going with it, no matter what, because those are two things that are not intended to go together. Okay? Glue and hair literally do not mix, on the contrary. But back to this girl. So some of the comments did include suggestions of items, products she should use to try and remedy removing the glue and the style. Okay, some of those comments did come from others who, proclaim to be, either hairstylists or, licensed practitioners. And earlier today, she posted a photograph from outside of the ER section of a hospital. Also, just a few hours following that, looking at her profile again, there was an image of her laying down with a clear appearance of something, some substance being, covering her hair. And there was a nurse behind her, wearing a mask and, apparently, observing her in the hospital. So, gives the appearance that she is going there. She's in there, for her situation to be hopefully and adequately addressed. And this right here, people, I don't care who you are, I don't care how old you are, I don't care if you're male or female. This should serve as a lesson to most people who work with or allow adhesive to be placed on their scalp. Again, I just don't feel it. I don't feel it. Okay. And I think folks would be better off with wearing wigs or embracing baldness. And I know that's easier said than done, but it is something that should be considered in lieu of, seeing a situation like this, on public platform. Okay. But the last thing I'll say about hair and personal appearance is that we have to live our lives better and at a higher standard with what we consume, what we choose to put in our body, as well as recognize our environmental surroundings and exposure to toxins being under control, like smoking. That's unhealthy, regardless of what type of smoke it is, hookah, cigar, weed, smoking, drinking, unhealthy diets, undue stress, including stressful relationships, etc. So all those type of things lead to premature baldness among putting adhesive anywhere in your hair and on your scalp. So how I feel about hair adhesive, well, this is just my take on it. You guys are going to do what you want to do, I know. And upon following through with doing what you want to do, just read. Reading is fundamental. Read the products that you're considering that you have never used before, so that you understand what they are intended for and how they're supposed to work. Because this could have been easily prevented had Terica gone to a salon in the first place. The DIY, the do-it-yourself hair care path is easy to misconstrue. And I know that, all these, various media platforms are inclusive of so many people who want to show you how to style your hair this way and how to do your makeup that way. And a lot of those folks don't even reference the correct and proper terminology in their explanation. And they're not showing you the thorough process also of what they're doing to their hair. So that path, following people who do those things, it's real easy to, follow confusion, misconstrue it, and is frequently overrated. That's why education is necessary to become licensed in the hair care and beauty industries. Okay, that's why cosmetology schools exist. And even when you get your hair handled at salons, you can and should ask your stylist questions about the products they're using too. Okay, don't be afraid to, inquire about the process that your stylist is going to take when you patronize a salon. Okay, because some folks in the salons don't know what they're doing either. But if you ask questions, it can help, get them on track and definitely make them aware and cognizant that you are paying attention to everything that they're doing to your hair. And you deserve that because you're paying for it. Okay. And they're supposed to be professional. So if you ask them about a product, they should have no hesitation in explaining it to you. Okay. What else? Also, like speculations blowing up spots on T.I. and Tiny, and not only with their personal, you know, means of getting down in the bedroom, but that they supposedly have been, seeking to entice and include. I don't know if it's necessarily minors, but women who are younger than them who would obviously, have a level of naivety and lack experience and awareness that they're being, targeted to join in with Ti and Tiny on the bedroom scene. So, um, yeah, some chick that has been associated with them over some years is making that claim against them, has made that claim against them. And so, because of that, it's been reported that their show, Ti and Tiny, is getting put on hold and it's not going to be, in production because the network that it comes on, VH1, is concerned about, obviously they're concerned about perpetuating the image of Ti and Tiny if this, allegation is something that's true about them. So they are, they have stated that they're, open to an investigation, being pursued around them, and that they are halting the production of the Ti and Tiny show. It's had 4 seasons up to this point, so that show's getting put on pause. And also, another surprise announcement. Speaking of things having been on hold, is apparently Nick Cannon is about to be brought back on in his show that he was hosting and, created, Wild and Out. He's going to get put back on as the host. He had been kind of X'd out from that show after some comments that he made that were displeasing to, I guess, some, people at the network. And they feel like what he was saying was, derogatory, discriminatory, expressing and promoting that about certain people. So the network, they had him canceled for the past handful of months here. But it looks like they're going to be bringing him back now. Apparently, they did seek to, replace him and fill his spot, but whomever they made the offer to turned it down. And so again, this is, supposed information that Nick Cannon will be returning as the host of Wild and Out. I guess they were able, with this hiatus, they were able to see the value in that show and they want to bring it back, but they see that they won't be able to without him because, again, he's the one who made that show. Like, he made it up, he created it, he, what's the word I want to use? He conceptualized every aspect, from what I can tell, even on it. Every segment within that show is from him, is from Cannon. So, big ups to anybody who was offered to replace him as a host and turned it down, because that's the way it should have been. So, congrats to y'all for, speaking out, making your voice heard, and not, falling for the okie doke and not, being willing to sell out, and furthering the network's effort to ignore and void Nick Cannon for something that he created. So that's something that he should always have access to as a, you know, platform, because he made it. It wouldn't exist if it wasn't for him. So he's supposed to be coming back to that. Don't know when, but that's what I heard. That's what I saw. So the rest of us, we'll see. You know, we'll have to check back for more information on when it's gonna come back on, if and when it's gonna start, taping again and all that good stuff. Right, right, right. So, uh, yeah, that's everything for this week. I'll likely be back with a review of Malcolm and Marie after I watch. So, in the meantime, don't stay at any overcrowded game watch party on Sunday. Wash your hands, mask up, and stay back. Y'all still having trouble maintaining distance between people. So, y'all gonna learn. Y'all gonna learn. If you stick out both of your arms lengthwise, you need to maintain that amount of distance times two around anybody who's in the same vicinity. Okay, that'll be reasonably close enough to 6 feet of distance to safely move around and interact. Okay, so wash your hands, mask up, and stay back. And if you feeling my flow, then comment, like, share, and subscribe to this Golden Dark Dame. And make sure you follow me and comment on my Instagram also at GOLDNDARK_DAME. Golden Dark Dame. Don't miss it. If it ain't about the money, I don't even gotta say.